you very much, everybody, for joining me today. It is Tuesday and I'm live, and just a very, very warm welcome I'm extending to all of you who are joining me out there, wherever you are right now. So thanks very much for joining. Now, if you are a person like me who loves sitting with books behind you and in front of you with books and notebooks and pen in the hand and a little notepad and your cards and everything, so that if you are a person like that, just stay here and listen and join in with this conversation. Just engage in what I'm going to talk to you today. So, I started talking about little notebooks. Now, if you watched my little advertisement a little bit earlier, I showed you a little books like this, the tiny one, and then another tiny one, and then a little bit bigger in size, and then a little bit bigger in size, and then the bigger in size, and then these are just a selection I could put in front of me here. So today, I'd like to talk to you about writing, and in a way, it is not just writing a book, but writing from our heart and writing from our soul, really. Now, it is a very, very fascinating conversation, and then since it has been around me for 2 weeks now, so I really decided to talk to you about this wonderful topic. So if this is the very first time you are joining, thanks very much for joining me here. I'm Zsuzsanna Hörcsög. I'm a medium, and I'm coming to you directly from the UK, from the Midlands, where I'm feeling a little bit autumnish. It feels like the autumn is coming, and this is our show, Zsuzsanna Medium. So here we go. So I'm going to talk to you about all the wonderful things what I have in front of me. And then, if you have been following my shows, you know that when I'm talking to you or sharing about my personal life, a little bit, not much, just a little bit, then I'm always intending or aiming to bring you something, some kind of reflection, and what I have learned or what I have gained from certain experiences or certain lessons, and believing that maybe there is one of you out there who might be experiencing similar things, and hopefully what I'm sharing here is going to be helpful for you to manage or sort out whatever you need to sort out right now. So, we can talk about these diaries and journals, so coming from all different angles. But as I was thinking today, I have decided to approach it from basically 3 different angles. So I'm going to go with the very, very first one. Now, I'm going to tell you, amongst all the pretty notebooks, the velvety ones, the shiny ones, the ones with the beads, you can have all kind of different things here, or the pretty patterns. I got something which is very, very special to me. Now, as you can see, this is an old notebook, and it is it is 30-year-old. Now, I'm not going to open. I just give you a little peek. A little tiny peek there, So what I'm talking about this is 30 years ago. So it's not going to be a very long story about my personal life, but then just giving you a little reflection here. 30 years ago, when my mother passed, around this time now in summer, the following day I started writing. And it is not because I wanted to create something, or I was thinking about, it's going to turn into something, or I wasn't even thinking about how long I'm going to write, or I was going to write. I just felt I needed to write because the situation was such, especially when somebody passes unexpectedly, then just finding some sense in the senselessness of that reality. So I started writing, and every day I was writing something for my mother or to my mother. So I added the first day, I added the date, and then the day, and then the time. And as you can see, I managed to scribble all the different things with very, very tiny letters. And now as I'm looking back on this writing, on this diary, I can see that especially myself being a therapist, when I look at something like this, I feel like, oh, this person was really using this piece of this book to create something, or not create something, but using it for something. So it's quite interesting because quite a few years after I used this notebook as a journal, I call this book as a mad woman's diary, because when I looked into it 5 or 6 years afterwards, it really looks like that somebody was in great need of something to hold a space, And then, so what I'm saying is, because if you are experiencing either bereavement or loss, or you are in a situation that you feel you cannot talk to anybody right now, or you live in a country where you don't have those resources where you can talk to somebody about what is really bothering you, perhaps take this opportunity that you get a book and then you get a pen and you immediately start writing what is coming to you, without any judgment, without any holding back what is present to you. And then, since I was keeping this book very, very private, you do the same. We do our journaling privately. It is very, very personal to everybody, and that's why we are doing it, because we want to work with our own energy. It's not something that we share. So if you feel that you are in a situation you cannot talk to anybody, start writing. It's not that what is coming out as a result, but then the actual flow of allowing what is within you, stuck within you, or the anger or frustration or anything what you feel. You just write, So in that sense, this book, my personal one, the Mad Woman's Diary, the actual book was something which was holding the space for that process of bereavement, So when I'm saying the word hold the space, we can be in a space when we don't have those people who might be helping us, or you might feel that, I don't want to contact anybody, although probably that is the best thing, if you look around in your area whom you can contact and start working on your issues. But in that sense, I feel that we use diaries and we use journaling for the healing process. So it is something very, very personal. You keep it to yourself, and anytime you feel that you need to write, then you write. So that is one big area of the healing, of just using diaries. So using as healing, part of your healing. And then also, if you choose to talk to somebody as a counselor or somebody, you can take this along and you can work with the individual, because especially if you are drawn to working in those ways, psychologically and in those ways, that can be useful. So that's for healing, So another one is, if you put this one aside, is the more creative, when I'm intentionally choosing a little booklet. I go to one of the pretty bookshops and then I get my little booklet because I want to use it for my creative work. Now, while I'm saying this, because quite recently, especially this year or last year, the readings, when I'm talking to the consultations I'm having with you, quite often I'm talking to people who are at the early stages of the intuitive or psychic or awareness opening, or the big opening of their awareness, that they are at that stage, and they are asking, so what can I do to hold myself together, or to keep all my feelings and all my thoughts and my dreams and my anything what is coming to me all together. So that is the very, very first place that you get a little booklet, whatever is working for you, and then using it for your creative process. Now, when we are at the very beginning of that creative process, very often we do this creative meditations and visualizations, and then there is somebody else holding the space for us, or something else holding the space for us, so that we are flowing with the journey. We are on that journey. Just like I had the Mad Woman's Diary for me, holding the space to write, and then holding the space for my own healing, then you do the same, because when we are listening to these creative visualizations and meditations, then there is either the music itself holding the space, And actually, you know what, that could be in itself can be a big topic or a show by itself, just talking about the types of music we can use for that purpose, holding the space for us. But then at the same time, all the creative visualizations. Now we need to know, and we need to remember, and probably you have already discovered that everybody has that sense which is a very prominent, you know. So somebody can be very visual, somebody can be or hearing things or sensing things or just knowing things at the beginning of our development. My thing was that I was always very visual, and then from being a visual, a clairvoyant, all my other senses started developing. So now I'm using all my senses, and I'm not thinking about what sense I'm using, because consciousness, spirit, God is using all the senses. But then when we are at the beginning of our development, when we are embarking on this journey, use those opportunities, meditation, creative visualization, especially with music, you know, how it works with our brain. So at the beginning, it is more, it's a good idea. So, when it comes to the creative work, so you know, when we have our either a vision or either a thought or a feeling, what we take away with us from a meditation or guided visualization or whatever we are using. My suggestion is that you immediately start writing things down, you know, start writing things down. So it can be either a word or a phrase, or if you feel that you have received something visually, then you jot it down, you draw, and just from time after time, you might feel that there are certain symbols or certain expressions coming forward, and then you can start using them as a pattern of your own development. Now, in this little booklet, the tiny one, which I used about 8 years ago, I've got pictures, because then again, I don't want to bring it too close to the camera for you to see, but then I'm just going to show you that there are, you know, my writing is the same, you know, tiny little letters. I don't have lines in this journal because I want to use it in a way how it feels comfortable. So I would have little illustrations, like there's a little thing there, or I would have a little picture coming to me in full vision, you know, in full color. So my only job was that when I opened my eyes after a meditation, I would draw it and I would annotate it and I would color it, you know. So it's always, and then another one here. And it is not because I was thinking about creating a picture or drawing something, but then because something came to me, that was part of the process. So in this little journal, it all comes together, or how a symbol can turn itself into something else. So that is one little journey. And then also, you know, while I'm talking about journaling and writing, I already take that you have some kind of meditation practice, because when it comes to allowing anything like this come to us, it means that we have already worked on ourselves, you know. So if you have not started your meditation practice, but then you want to be able to channel, you want to be able to write, you want to be able to receive visual things or hearing or sensing, then that is where you need to start with your meditation practice. And that's again by itself a whole show or two. So here we go. Now, so that is one thing. So when things come to us, we write it down. Now, next to us, I also have another little booklet. Now, so this is what I use when I'm meditating. Not now, at that time when it had its purpose, you know, it had its purpose. Now, another idea that you have another little booklet which you carry with yourself, you know, one of those where you can take the pages out, because when you are working on a bigger booklet, you know, whatever you work on, then you can take the little leaflets, little pages out and put in the big book over there. Now, what I'm saying is that you are taking it everywhere where you go, because anywhere, you know, once we start the meditation, we are already open to receive what we need to receive. One thing could very easily happen that, once we start tuning in, that anywhere where we are, we notice things, we hear things, we just have this sense that actually something caught my eye over there, and immediately I want to write it down. You might want to write down when you have a certain feeling that unexpectedly you feel somebody else's emotions more profoundly than any time before. You want to write it down. You want to remember. And then you see also a good idea that you write down the date, not just the June the 30th, because now when I'm looking into my countless diaries here, sometimes I wonder which year was I thinking about, or which year I was using that diary. So just again, out of practice, make sure that you annotate everything so that it's going to be something interesting for you to read, in your old age or something like that. So here we go. That's another idea. It's lovely to have these little pretty things, we can carry, and it's all very, very private to all of us. People do not need to know about this, because once we start talking about what we have received, then it's getting a little bit diluted in that way. People would give us feedback and remarks, and then especially at the very beginning when our confidence is not there yet, in a sense that you accept what we have received, then it can rock the boat, So keep it nice and private to yourself. Now, another thing, an interesting thing, now I'm going into the bigger ones because I love the big books. Now here I will have lines in the books. And then this book, so this is an empty page because I don't want you to have a look at my little writing, So sometimes, because when I write, I'm not very tidy. Sometimes I'm very tidy. Sometimes I just write, and then in a way how I need to write. It's quite eclectic. It goes this way and that way, and that's perfect for me. Now, with the writing. Now, if you feel, when if a psychic or a medium or a counselor or whatever, a coach is saying to you, start writing, use it as a resource to hold the space for yourself and to express yourself. And then you say, oh, I don't know how to write, or I can't write, I was never good at writing or anything like that. By the way, I never, ever enjoyed writing when I was in school, especially when it was timed, when they gave me marks and all the rest. So just forget about what you had before. This is a very, very different experience altogether. So writing, you get a pen. It's so very easy again, So by this stage, you have sorted out your meditation practice. It means that you are able to relax in your body. You take a few breaths, you ground your feet, you feel comfortable in your body. You'll go jelly-like in your body, okay? And then you, as much as possible, just letting your thoughts, So that's another conversation of meditation and thoughts, and we can talk about it. But then by the time you get to your pen and then a big book with the lines in it, it means that I am able to relax myself, and your only job is to put your pen on the paper. That's it. That is the only job. And while I'm saying this, because at the beginning, when we want to write, we can think that, that person can channel, it means I want to do it, so it's all ego conversation. Now, if you notice that is happening, just go back to your meditation, sort yourself out, and then go back to your pen and book. Because once we enter this space of writing, we cannot have the ego conversation because it will come through. It will block the energy, and it is not going to take you for very long, on your journey. So what you do, you put the pen down, and then you write down the very first word, and then you write down the next one, and then you write down the next one. And then whether you are using capital letter or little letter or small case letters, or you use punctuation or any kind of thing, anything, it does not matter. It does not matter because it is absolutely just your very personal thing. And because it is very personal, we can never, ever compare our thing with somebody else, or to somebody else. So your only job is to write down the word, and then you write down the next one, And then if you feel in your mind, if you pop back to your mind, and then if you feel that, what, doesn't make sense, I don't know why I'm talking about a rocking horse and then a lemon on one line, it does not matter what is coming to you. It's one of those games when you say something and you play the game with a friend. You say one word and the other person is saying one word, and you respond, and the other person is saying one word. So you do exactly the same thing. You put the pen on the paper and you start writing one word, the next one, and then the next one, and the next one. If you need to breathe, then you breathe. You take it in, you be it in that it's just wonderful that these words are coming to me. And then you put the pen down and you write and you write. And you will notice that after a while, the words begin to put themselves together. And then you get phrases, 2 or 3 words. And then even if they might be all over the place, but then they are shaping themselves. And then our only job is just to allow and observe the whole situation, the whole experience. And I'm not even using the word being judgmental or not judgmental, because with meditation, you have sorted yourself out. So at this stage, it's sorted. So you write things. And you see, the only thing what we need to do, I always say to you, allow, because your pen is going to tell you what to write. The energy is going to lead you what you need to write in a way how you need to write it. The only thing you need to do is that you keep it as a regular practice. I cannot say that I write something and I go, wow, that was amazing, and then now I can channel and I can write, and then nothing for weeks afterwards. We have to work at it. We have to work with the energy. Now, something very, very interesting, if you are using, I want to mention is, if you are using more than one language, just like how I use 2 languages, I've got my main language, which is English, and my mother tongue, which is Hungarian, which I'm not really using much. But it could happen to you very, very easily that when you start writing, you say to yourself, oh, no, I'm going to write in the main language, what I'm using right now. So it's not your mother tongue, it's the other one. You write down, you start writing things. And then even though you say that I want to write something in the other language, but then you get the stuff, you get the information, you get the words in one language. So you just go along with it, because sometimes it happens. We start writing in one language and we swap to the next one. And it's not because I am thinking of, it is because the energy is expressing itself. Sometimes we are receiving the words, the frequencies in a way how we need to receive them actually all the time. So if you feel that you are moving from one language to another, just be it, because it will find its way. It will find its way. Now, those of you who speak my language, the Hungarian one, and know my Hungarian page, I recorded a very interesting conversation, because a couple of times it happened that the long conversation, which goes for 16 or 20 pages and goes like that, it came out in Hungarian and in an archaic, in an old Hungarian, the language what people don't use, but the information came in a way from the source because it needed to be expressed in the way. So you just be in that creative space. So that's writing. Well, one section of writing. Another very interesting thing is, because I've got lots of ideas, you can use your cards, you can use props, you can use anything what you are really drawn to. And then you can take, you might want to try the major arcana, I did not put them in order here, but then you just pick one card, okay? Imagine a fool, pick the fool, start with the first one. And then look at the card for a week, without thinking what you are really drawn to, and write about it, And then the wonderful thing is that once we put the focus on some kind of creative work, it is going to work at the back of our mind, whether we are in a real reality, a workplace or family place, or in a creative space, but then that energy is working with us. So use it as some kind of prop, some kind of reflection. So it's, again, something else is holding the space for me, just like the book over there. Just like the creative book. So here we go. Excuse me. Another point here is writing in silence. And I love it, because probably that's why I needed to clear my thought, because, whether we are writing with some music at the background, with some noise at the background, or we are writing in complete silence. Now, if you go back, at the very, very beginning, we might want to use some music to hold the space for ourselves. But then a little bit later, when you are okay with when you are really sorted with your meditation practice, it's silence. It's complete silence. When it comes to me channeling my own parents' energy, my mother giving me ideas, then it's silent. I'm in silence because she's talking to me. So I'm using my sense of hearing as well. So you can experiment with, music or no music or what you are using. There are other ways of using your journaling and your writing. Now, this is what I had time for today. If you are interested, you can join me. I'll tell you what, if you are interested, you can join me on Saturday. I'm going to have a little group on the 28th of August to work with our journaling work, and then using various little exercises to put you on that path that you start creating something, but not because you want to create, but because you want to allow something to be expressed from your heart, and then from your love. And then with these words, I'm going to send you lots of love and many, 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 many blessings. So thanks very much for joining me. This is our show, Zsuzsanna Medium. I'm Zsuzsanna Hörcsög. You can find me on my Facebook page and the website and all the different places. And I'm going to be back next Tuesday. So have a wonderful week, and I'm grateful. Thank you.